as well as involved in what BCB does and how it's run. If you like to know more about that, you just get more involved. But for our March membership meeting, it'll be just a fun time. Wear your blue and white because we're going to have some basketball trivia. And we would love for you to come. You can pay your membership dues at that time. It's $10 for a year. And so just think about it and let us know if you're coming, because we need to have the RSVPs in as soon as possible, really. No later than Monday at noon prior to the Wednesday, because it's 1 week from today. March 11th is also in the newsletter, and there's a lot more information about it. It's our outing, our community outing. We're going to the Lyric Theater on 3rd Street. We're going to listen to Wood Songs, Old Time Radio Hour. And it's going to be a bluegrass duo, 2 sisters, one on banjo, one on the fiddle, and they sing in harmony. And that should be really interesting. And then I believe there's a banjo player after that. So they have 2 sets of musicians. Monday evening, there's a lot more information in the newsletter about it. Doors open at 6 p.m. And if you want to try to get there by 6:30, because they need to be seated by 6:45. You want to get your wheels right. If you're coming by wheels, you want to get your wheels right scheduled by 8:15, because it's over at 8, but it might go over a little bit. So think about 8:15. You don't want to be left waiting late at night. March the 13th is our next mentoring support group. Some of you have come to those. We usually talk about something related to our challenges with the vision impairment and learn more from each other on how we're meeting those challenges. This time for March, we are pleased to have August Tuggle, who is a certified music therapist. She's going to lead the session. And we will have a chance for self-expression and just learn more about how music can help us discuss, we can get started discussing, some things related to our disabilities. All right. So I need a RSVP on that as well. And so be sure to let me know if you're coming. That's a Wednesday. That's 2 weeks from now. And it's from 1 to 2. You'll be there. Well, let me know there. I can't write it down right now. So let me know after the, before you leave if you want. Yeah. So Sam's Assistive Technology Seminar is the same week. It's on Thursday, March 14th. He's going to be talking about headphones. And then March 27th, which is our next Lunch and Learn, like we're having today, we're having a program on 2 different transportation options that are available here in our area. And they're just in addition to, Wheels and Lyft and Uber. You might want to know about them. That's also in the newsletter. One is called Go Go Grandparent, but they also help, us younger people. I'm not a grandparent, but I'm old enough to be one. But anyway, and then the other one is Independent Transportation Network. Some of you all use them as well. They are less than the cost of a cab, but they're more than a Wheels ride. April the 2nd, some of you have participated in our cooking classes. So we're having a cooking class refresher over at the County Extension office. And we're going to be making sweet and savory quesadillas. So it's good for those who attended last year, the cooking classes. It's also good for any newcomers. So feel free to RSVP for that if that sounds interesting to you. We always have a good time there. And learn something that we can take home and apply to our kitchen skills.
On the kitchen classes, you all have plenty of microwaves.
That's an inside joke, you all. I don't want to tell on you, Dennis, but Dennis is, we were making omelets that time, wasn't it? And I don't know what happened, but Dennis's omelet kind of exploded. But we did use a microwave that time, but the quesadillas will be using skillets. And we adapt the instructions as much as possible for those who are blind or visually impaired as well. Jackie's getting really good with that. And
Susan, what was the date of the cooking class?
April the 2nd. It's a Tuesday. Tuesday from 1 to 2:30. Okay, that's it for my announcements. Now, I'm very pleased to have Nora Veblen, music therapist here in our area. And she is from Wildwood Music Therapy.
Yes.
Yes, and she's gonna lead this session. I don't know exactly how it's gonna go, but I'm excited. I hope you all are too, to enjoy what she has to offer. And Nora, if you wanna introduce yourself any further,
Sure.
please do.
Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, well, thank you all so much for having me. Like Susan said, my name is Nora Veblen. I'm a board certified music therapist like August. And I thought actually we would just go ahead and start with a song since it's a music therapy thing. So I'm gonna put this microphone here. Oops. And okay, it's not morning anymore, but we're gonna try a little, oh, what a beautiful morning, oh, what a beautiful day. And if you know it, feel free to sing along. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I've got a wonderful feeling. All right, now if you want to add a little challenge, if you want to do like a pat, pat, clap, clap, pat on your knees, pat, clap, 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 clap. We got one taker. All right, or you can stomp your feet to the beat. Try to keep that beat with the next. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I've got a wonderful feeling. Everything's going my way. All the sounds of the earth are like music. All the sounds of the earth are like music. The breeze is still busy. Don't miss the tree. And it only is laughing at me. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I've got a wonderful feeling. Everything's going my way. Oh, what a beautiful day. Excellent. All right. Thank y'all so much for singing with me. And even while I was eating lunch, I think everybody next to me was a musician. So there's any other musicians in the group? I'll see some hands.
No, but we got a good singer over here.
Okay, I thought I heard some good singing back there. I like it. Well, just a little about me. That song was a little bit for me because take a deep breath before speaking in front of a group. But that's also a typical way I might start a music therapy session. Maybe not that song. You know, if we were with kids, it would be something a little different. Oh yeah, but that good structure, that's one of the non-musical things we do in a music therapy session is have some of that structure. So just to go over the structure of what I'll be talking about today, I'm gonna tell you a little bit more about myself and then basically answer the question, what is music therapy? What happens in a music therapy session, and what kind of goals we address, and then where you can find music therapists. So I'm gonna put my guitar down. If you'd like to and are able to follow along, I'm gonna pass out some sheets here. So, I did my training at the University of Kentucky. Oh, that'd be great. Susan's gonna bring those around. So, music therapy is an allied health profession, so we often are not the only therapy someone is receiving. We often co-treat with other therapies like speech, OT, PT. But sometimes we are the only therapy service someone's getting. For example, if when I worked in a hospital for a little while, they might have been getting other therapies, but we might have been the only one working with them on social, emotional goals, helping them process or life changes, helping them reduce symptoms of anxiety and depression. That's a very common thing we work with in hospitals and medical facilities. Well, I lost where I was going with that, but I'll just go back a little bit. So I learned about this organization back in probably 2017. My aunt had a stroke and lost her vision, and she got some really good support with other ways that she could engage in activities. And what I found, and I was already doing music therapy at that time, but because music is such an auditory and tactile experience, her vision didn't really change the way she could interact with music. She was still able to participate in it fully, and it was a great way for me to engage with her, especially as her cognitive levels were starting to decline. She was still able to independently interact with me in that way. And so, yeah, I have a real appreciation for what you all did for her, and so I was excited to get to come talk to you all. But let's see. So basically, in music therapy, a board certified music therapist, which means that they went to a training program and completed an internship, will lead or facilitate someone in music interventions to address non-musical goals. And that's also within a therapeutic relationship. So it's important to get to know the person, build rapport with them. And it's all very individualized. What happens in a music therapy session, I've listed a few things, and I'm gonna try to recruit you all to participate a little bit in some of those later. I've got drums and some shakers and things. But basically, we first look at what are the needs of the individual we're working with or the group. And then we think about what are all the ways that engagement in music can potentially help them with those goals. I'm gonna something here. So if you just think for a minute about all the different ways you might interact with music, first of all, listening, even if you're just listening to music, you're feeling the beat, you're hearing melodic changes, you might be listening to the lyrics. So right away, anything that has a natural rhythm or movement. So we work a lot with folks who maybe have Parkinson's or folks who have had a brain injury, relearning daily tasks that have a natural rhythm to them, walking, or even just figuring out how to reach out and complete brushing their teeth or eating. There's some motor planning involved in that. And so music and that natural rhythm can help prime your motor areas of your brain. When you think about lyrics, there's so much emotionally that you can get through lyrics, whether you're just listening or if you're writing your own lyrics, digging into, and I think Susan kind of touched on this with maybe what August is going to do. There's music can be such a great gateway into talking about all different kinds of maybe difficult emotions. The songwriters may be expressing things that you felt, and so it can feel very validating. And I'm sure a lot of you have had those experiences yourself, like there's particular songs that you really relate to, or you like to listen to when you're sad, or you like to listen to when you're angry, or songs that kind of pump you up. So we just we use a lot of those natural ways that we interact with music to work on specific goals. Stop starting to hear myself. Is that something I don't know if that's something we can work on the audio. But I think,
You've got harmonics.
oh, that's right. And let's see, just could well, let's keep going unless that's too distracting. So if you are following along on here, what happens in a music therapy session? So I'm just gonna read a few of these: instrument play, singing, songwriting. Now I think it stopped as soon as you got in here.
Chair next to me if you want to.
Movement to music. What'd you say? Oh, were you? You're fine. You want to stay out here?
Thank you.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Music facilitated relaxation, lyric fill-in, sensory processing, verbal processing, music games, music learning can also be therapeutic, coach-reading, imaginative play. I'm going to turn the page here. Some of the goals that we address. So cognitive skill building, making music can be, I want to say first that it can be easy and you don't have to be naturally talented to make music, but it can be difficult if we do that on purpose to challenge you to play in different rhythms, to follow different cues, to listen to what you're hearing, to change what you're doing. I already mentioned processing emotions, improving emotional and sensory awareness. And this goes for all ages, but I do this work on sensory and emotional awareness a lot with kids who are still developing a lot of those skills. Sometimes music can be more concrete. You hear an angry song or you sing a song about a bear and you move like a bear and you growl like a bear. And that might be an easier way to say I'm angry. I feel like a bear. At a certain age, that might make more sense. And then eventually you get some of more language to describe how you're feeling. It's a lot of sensory, that tactile, there's the auditory stuff from making music or listening to music. So it can really help you be aware of where things are, where your body is in space, because you're hearing the instrument when you're playing, you know how far you've reached. Is the instrument behind you? Where is the instrument in the room? You're really working on that, on location of auditory stimuli. Non-pharmacological pain management. I think I mentioned that a little bit earlier. Music can kind of interrupt those pain signals and kind of take up a little bit of space in your brain, so that it reduces that sensation. Same thing with symptoms of depression and anxiety. You might have heard that music releases a lot of those happy chemicals into your brain. Stimulating speech and movement. I mentioned that a little bit already with movement, but also stimulating speech. So the easiest example of this to express is sometimes folks who've had a stroke who might lose or have impaired ability to speak can still sing songs because it's processed in a different part of their brain. So that part of their brain that knows those lyrics is undamaged, and so they're able to use that to verbalize and then potentially move that towards chanting and then speaking, because music is processed all over your brain, not just the right side. It's all over, all those different parts involved in speech and movement, memory. Improving self-confidence and self-efficacy. That a lot of folks might feel like they're not naturally musically talented, but a lot of what we do in music therapy is create create experiences, create successful experiences. So we want to scaffold what we're providing so everybody feels successful and feels like they can participate to the fullness of their ability. And then just sort of general quality of life. That was something really important for my aunt. Her ability to participate in music really kept her connected with us because we could do that together. And then as she in her last moments even could still participate in music through listening, and still kind of we could connect with her in that way. So we serve folks as music therapists all across the lifespan. So in my next section here, where can you find music therapists? Music therapists work in hospice and end of life care to help provide emotional support for the client, for their family, and also again that pain management. Music therapists work in medical facilities. As I mentioned, for pain, anxiety, when you're in an unfamiliar place like a medical facility and a lot of your choices have been taken away, music and making choices about what you want to hear, what you want to play, how you want it to sound can be really important, and take your mind off of all the other stuff that's going on. The music can make it feel less medical in those kind of situations. So as I mentioned here, if you're, hopefully not, but if you ever find yourself in the hospital, you can ask for music therapy to help support your emotional needs and your pain management needs. If you ask your doctor, the Ridge, if folks in adult day centers often have music therapists that come in and work on social and emotional goals. In the schools, kids who have an IEP can receive music therapy. So if you have a child in the schools and you're interested in them receiving music therapy to help with their academic goals, if they're not making the progress that you were expecting them to make, you can request an assessment to see if music therapy would help them meet those goals. Some childcares have music therapists. And then out in the community, there are private practices, like ours is Wildwood Music Therapy. There are some other practices in town, but we have folks can come to us in our studio, or we go out to their home, or a place where they might spend part of their day, or a community center, and provide those kinds of services. I'm going to pause right there. I'm talking a lot. That's a good sound. I'm just going to pause right there, and I have some interactive things planned for us, but I wanted to see if anybody would want to share like what music has meant in their life, or like an impactful experience they've had with music. No pressure. Yes.
I've always liked music. My mom, for many years, she died a couple years ago dementia, but she played for church, and I sang some, and I've always listened to it on the radio and television and so forth. And I know one thing. I don't know if you follow any baseball or not, but there is a song like "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." They sing in the seventh inning.
Yeah.
You may have heard about that. Well, I'll tell you one story real quick. And the Chicago White Sox, Harry Carey was a longtime announcer. I don't know if you heard of him, but he was with the Cardinals, and he got fired, and then he went to the White Sox, Chicago. Well, he always sang "Take Me Out to the Ball Game," and he always thought he told us in a story, the only other person who knew it was the other announcer, Jimmy Kershaw. Well, Bill Beck was the guy. He bought the White Sox sometime in the mid-70s. I didn't follow it back then. Well, this guy was at the seats at the first game. He was in the stands, and he saw Harry getting up there, but he realized something that Harry never knew, that a bunch of people around him were getting up and singing. So the first time, next night, without him knowing, he put a public address microphone on it. It went all over the ballpark, and he said, Harry said, "How can we do that?" He said, "I always wanted to find somebody to do that, and they know they can sing as well or better than you can." And then he was with the Cubs several years. But
Ah.
And we got in the early eighties for music, we got the national network. We were one of the first systems, many years ago, back in the eighties, but get that when it came on. I don't think they have it anymore, but.
Oh, I don't know. Oh, that's interesting. Well, why don't we see how many folks know that song? Can we try it? All right, here we go. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and cracker jacks. I don't care if I never get back, so it's root, root, root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out in the old ball game. Beautiful. See, it's funny, I wonder, probably some of you haven't sung that in a really long time, but music kind of can just get stuck in your brain in that way. It's stored, and probably maybe some fun memories with that one. Like you might picture being, yes.
I just want to point out the correct lyrics to that song are root, root, root for the Cubbies.
Oh.
That's from my buddy Philip there.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I mean, obviously the guy who was for the White Sox, he took it over.
We got some controversy here. I love it. Yeah. Can bring out some mixed feelings. Everybody has different associations with that song, and I love it. A lot of music can be like that, and actually that's sort of an important point, as sometimes music can have a negative memory associated with it, so we have to be careful with that. That's sometimes the benefit of having somebody there, like a music therapist, if those emotions come up, to help process that with you, and try to be careful that the music is not harmful. That doesn't come up too much, but it is worth mentioning. But yeah, anybody else have a connection? Yes.
All throughout my school age, I was bullied as a kid, so my great grandmother would actually play some of her music, and some music that was talking about being the bigger person, don't take it out on others, and we would just listen to that and everything.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that story. Yeah, and I love that it was she picked. Yeah, it sounds like she picked some particular songs to like share that meaning with you, and probably anytime you hear those songs, it has some of those positive memories, and yeah, that's really sweet. Yeah, Susan.
Yeah, when my mom was in the hospital, she had dementia, and she was in the hospital for a few days, and someone, I don't know who it was, we didn't ask for it, but a music therapist came in and played some guitar, and I got it on, I used my iPhone to record it because my mom seemed to really be enjoying the relaxation that she got from it, and she was starting to keep time with her, with her hand, and so it was just really nice that they provided that.
Yeah.
The relaxation.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, it can be relaxing, and then also that feeling of familiarity can be, especially with dementia, but really for anybody in a strange situation, or when you're in a negative emotional place, like having something that feels familiar, that you know what's going to happen and you recognize it, can feel really comforting. I think I saw a hand. I don't know your name. You're sitting next to Ella. Yes.
Christy.
Christy.
Music has always played a big part in my life as a part of healing. And I grew up with, my mom and I are 19 years a month and 3 days apart. We're very close. We're close. And so I grew up with her music, that she grew up with. Then I grew up with my music in the 80s, and from now, and then I grew up with the style that my brother listened to. So music for me, that was a way to keep me encompassed with my family.
Yeah.
I've experienced joys with that.
And yeah, you could connect with each other through the different types of music. That's kind of like what you said about your great grandmother's music too. It helped connect you with other people in your family who their interests and things might have been different because of your age, but you could all sort of come together around music and stuff. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, so in the back there.
I noticed my nephew, his father, which would be my brother-in-law, has been in the hospital, and his mother has dementia, so she's almost ready, I think, to die. But all of a sudden, my nephew started watching videos of Elvis Presley, and that was one thing that he and his dad really had in common. And at the time, they were really having some rifts between them. But it was like he was trying, I kind of thought, in his own way, he's connecting.
Yeah, listening to that, watching those videos to connect with him that way when they might not have been able to talk about everything. It's just a different way to connect. Yeah. I bet you're right. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Yeah, absolutely. Well, if anybody thinks of anything else, I love hearing everybody's stories, and I think everybody just kind of has their own relationship with music, and so I'm gonna lead us in some group stuff. And so music therapists do a lot of groups, but we also do a lot of individual work because everybody's experiences are different, like we've just heard, and everybody's needs are different, everybody's goals and interests are a little different. So I am gonna bring around some drums and some shakers, and then I'll bring out some other weirder instruments maybe later. I see some hesitation. You do not have to do this. I totally understand, but just so you know, there's no, I think I already said this, but there's no expectation that you already know how to play these. This is just for fun. So I'll put on a song. Most of what we use in music therapy is live music, because we can change it in the moment. Make it louder or slower or faster. Change how complex the stimulus is, but I'm gonna just play a recorded song while I come around and pass out some instruments to you all. We'll do a little relaxation. This is James Taylor, You've Got a Friend. Okay, let's see. Everybody on this side, shaker.
And so I will even though you just call me, and you know wherever I'll come running. Oh, it just means something more. All you got to do is call, and I'll be there.
Okay, now you all are getting the drums, so
Oh, no.
I'm gonna give you a hand.
and call my name round now.
Susan, what time?
Now he's knocking upon your door. And calling somebody, and you know where all your is gone. Yes. You got them, but you so old. They'll hurt you and search you. They take your soul and feel it. Oh, don't you? Oh, baby, don't you know about this thing's hey, now all you have to do is call. Lord, I'll be there, yes, I'll be there.
All right, I think we can keep the beat to just the end of this song.
You got ain't good to
Air
know.
guitar up there, like,
Ain't it good to know? Not oh,
all right, so, we'll just start with a little exploration, a little sound exploration. Does anybody want to shout out an artist that they like? Oh, no.
Bob Seger.
Oh, let's see. Okay, we got Bob Seger. Yeah, I think I know some of Led Zeppelin, but I might need to review.
Yeah.
All right, let's try little, okay. How about old time rock and roll? Is that something, Marty?
No,
No?
that's the one I hate the most.
Oh, no.
I like all the shit.
That's the one that you don't like. You like Against the Wind?
That's a good one.
Okay, we'll try Against the Wind. So we'll play just a little bit of this one. And just for kind of the exploration, kind of see what all the different sounds are that you can make with your instrument during this song. Everybody will be playing, so go wild with it. You can hit it on your, don't hit on your head maybe, but like there's no rules. Well, I mean, I shouldn't say it, but within reason, you can maybe try scratching it, try it with your fingernails, try shaking it. If you have drums, there's different parts of the drum you can play, the top, the sides. So I'll just play a little bit of this and let's just see what some of the different sounds you can make are with your instrument. And if it's not to the beat, that's okay. Shakers, you can like maybe tap the fingernails on. It's like yesterday. It was long ago. It ain't lovely, but between my eyes. There in the darkness with the radio like secrets that we shared. Mountains that we moved, caught like wildfire out of control. There's nothing left for you. I'm gonna add something to it, which is now kind of listen around you and see if you can hear what the other people around you are doing with their instruments. I remember what she said to me, how she swore that never would. I remember how she held me so tight. Wish I would know now what I didn't know then. It's away. We were running and kept away. We were young and strong and all right, excellent. So, was too fast? Oh, no, okay. No, that's a good observation. My tempo was a little too fast, maybe, from what you're used to hearing. Absolutely. Well,
You weren't in 4/4 time.
yeah.
That was good, just, going too fast.
Yeah, no, and that's a good point. Because that's actually a tricky thing in music therapy. You know, we're doing a lot of the music live, and so often we don't play it just like you remember.
Right.
And that can be frustrating if you're used to hearing it a certain way. Like I said, that familiarity, what you expect is so important. So yeah, that's absolutely a good point. What did you all hear from the instruments around you? Anybody hear anybody doing anything interesting or fun? I saw some. Oh, did I hear what somebody got there? Everybody say wait, yeah, you got a good beat. You heard, I've already heard somebody hitting the table. I like it. Maybe that was August, yeah. It's another good way to play. Well, I'm gonna bump up the listening task a little bit more here. So I'm gonna play, I've got a drum. I have a drum and a shaker, so sorry, my guitar.
What's that?
All my drums, let's hear all the drums play. They're all on this side of the room, and let's hear just the shakers now on the other side of the room. All right, and freeze, and then back to the drums. And freeze. And back to shake. All right. Okay, so we're gonna do a little. Does anybody remember all the elements of music, like from elementary school, like melody, tempo, timbre, harmony, rhythm, all those things? That's okay if you don't remember. Tempo. So we're gonna start with rhythm. So this is doing a couple different things. It's working our auditory senses. You're having to listen. There's a cognitive element to it as well. And there's some rhythmic movement. So if I shake the shaker, shakers will echo my rhythm. If I play it on the drum, just the drums will echo the rhythm. So let's practice it first. I'm going to start with the shakers. So here's the rhythm. Your turn. Oh, nice. All right, now I'm going to switch to the drums. All right, now I'm not going to tell you. I'm just going to play it, and you'll have to listen to see who's going to play first. So here we go.
Yeah. Okay, pretty good. I caught some of you with that one. Nice job. So what did you have to do like mentally to keep track of that? What was that work there? Hearing the rhythm, yes.
Recognizing who's playing.
Recognizing who was playing. So this actually gets into timbre, which is the way something sounds. So this is hearing the difference between the drum and the shaker, hearing what the rhythm was, and then stopping when you heard the other sounds. So some auditory discrimination going on there. Very nice. Huh?
I thought you were mixing them.
Oh, I could have mixed them
Well,
up.
I didn't.
Ooh. Y'all were a step ahead of me there. I thought we were gonna do them at the same time. I like it. Well, we're gonna try another auditory game here. And so in this one, it's a little, we're gonna play, you can kind of just keep playing to the beat, but you're listening for a different cue. So it's like red light, green light. Let's see, but the stop sign is, that means to stop. And then this is the green light. So let's give it a try. Whenever I'm playing like this, now, like I kind of just mentioned, the xylophone is a very different sound from the drums and the shakers. So you can kind of tell that it's a different sound, but mixed in with the drums and the shakers, you're gonna have to listen a little bit more to hear that different sound. So let's try, whenever y'all hear me play, can y'all go ahead and play to this beat? Whatever instrument you've got, drums and shakers. So that's the stoplight. Let's look at it one more time. Nice. So, was a little bit trickier to hear maybe. It's a different kind of cue. It's listening for a particular rhythm, a particular sound to know when to stop and go. Another thing that we could do is I could move around the room with the instrument and trying to figure out where it's coming from the room. And I was, as I'm leading these right now, I want to just mention that I have not had the opportunity to work with folks who are blind or visually impaired in music therapy. So I'm certainly not an expert in this area. So I was curious, do you kind of think any of the kind of auditory discrimination things, can you all see that sort of working to help with auditory discrimination for someone who's dealing with visual impairment? Any thoughts about that? I'm curious.
I think that part's good. I've been visually impaired my whole life,
Mhm.
but for somebody that's lost it later on, having to
Yeah.
learn, you've got to start using some other senses to figure, crossing the street, you're listening when you cross instead of looking, and so that part seems to be very relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, August.
Sorry, yeah, I was just gonna say, like, going up, like, with the street thing, like, that's a great everyday example of, like, how, like, people who are blind or visually impaired might need to be able to distinguish between different types of sounds in order to stay safe.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we'll do a couple more things here. I wanted to bring of some broad stuff, some broad information about music therapy, but I think
That's sort of maybe a particular interest, folks who are working on that auditory discrimination when maybe you didn't have to before, trying to figure that out.
Find out in 7 minutes.
Oh, 7 minutes, okay. Sounds good. Well, let's see. I think, maybe we can just try we'll just try one more song here together. Would you all like to do a little Elvis or the Beatles? Elvis, okay. Okay, I need, I might recruit August. Okay, so I'm gonna hand August 2 bells. And, this is from Jailhouse Rock. And then everybody else with an instrument will do that. Oh, perfect. All right, okay, so that's your B's and this is your C. And have you done those bells before? You can hit the top of them?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Some of my internships, like,
Oh, perfect. Okay, so let's give it a try. A little Elvis. So this is like just a little collaborative instrument play. And this can look, while I'm looking up this song, this can look a lot of different ways, but just making music together is a great way to form relationships and work, like learn teamwork, if that's something someone is working, teamwork and sharing the spotlight. But also just in general, having those positive social relationships, and music has been used throughout human history to bond us to each other and strengthen our relationships with each other. So we'll try, let's see. So August, will you give us the bum bum?
Yeah.
And then everybody else. Born through the party in the county jail, the prison band was there and they began to wail. The band was jumping and the joint began to swing. You should have heard the song down jail. Everybody, let's rock. Everybody, let's rock. Everybody in the whole cell block. One stands to jailhouse or I heard them fast. Nice. Father Murphy plays the tenor saxophone. Little Joe's blowing on the slide trombone. The drummer Fort Illinois with crash boom bang. The whole rhythm section was the purple king. Let's rock. Everybody, let's rock. Everybody in the whole cell block. One stands to jailhouse rock. One more. Nice. And he said the bugs are heaven's sake. No one's looking out a chance to make a break. I turned the ship again, he said, Nick, sick. Stick around, no one gave my case, let's rock. Everybody, let's rock. Everybody in the whole cell block. Both hands to jailhouse rock. Both hands to jailhouse rock. Both hands. Okay, well, I'm gonna just do a quick little farewell song that I often like to end sessions with, and kind of help us relax after that rocking and rolling. And then, welcome to play along. May you be filled with love and kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and steady. May you be happy. If I had time, I'd love to go around and say everybody, put everybody's names in the song. But we'll do everybody together. May everyone be filled with love and kindness. Everyone be well. Everyone be peaceful and happy. Everyone be happy. May everyone be happy. All right. Well, I'm gonna wrap up. Does anybody have any, I think I'm out of time, but I was gonna see if anybody has any questions or thoughts. Susan? Sure. Well, I'll just share that, if you got that packet, so I've got my contact information on the third page there. Wildwood Music Therapy. If you are interested in music therapy for yourself, for a loved one, or just anyone who kind of, I've listed several goals on there. Variety of different ways that you or someone you love might be able to benefit from music therapy, if not now, at some point in their lives, if they're in one of those situations that I mentioned. So a lot of people don't know music therapy exists. So I appreciate the opportunity to share it with you and let you know that we are here.
Was that a wonderful presentation? And our handouts were in large print too, for those of us who use large print. So, she's really catering to us.
Do you have any more? I didn't get.
Yes,
Yeah,
that
this is an extra.
This is an extra one right up here, and, with the help of,
Oh, sorry, all my stuff's on.
oh, yeah.
I'm gonna clear that up.
With the help of a sighted volunteer, I would like to ask a couple of questions of the group. And, oh, never mind. I don't have that sheet with me. We'll do that next time. Yeah. Don't worry about it.
Oh, here, I think I
Yeah,
took
we're
it.
done.
I
Thank
think
you.
I took it from.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. We don't need to. Everybody enjoy your time left,
Thank you all. I'll come around and grab your extra.
Thanks.
Sorry, I had to last one second.
Thank you for coming to the Zoom presentation. We are finishing up. We will be ending the Zoom presentation shortly.
Yeah.